The year is 2009, and pal, you just got yourself the new Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 2. You've been playing the campaign, and goddamn it's a blast. You're all the way up to the mission, Loose Ends, weird name. Anyway, you just got your hands on the DSM with a whole bunch of dirt on that ultra-nationalist bastard Makarov. You're escaping his men, but you've been hurt, and there's only two of you against an army. Wait, it's your commanding officer. He's brought reinforcements. And there it is in front of you, safety and your CO. No doubt here to commend you for your amazing work.
We got it, sir. Good. That's one less loose end.
Well, shit. If you're a fan of the series, you probably know everything that happens here. I mean, it must be the most well-known video game betrayal. The betrayal itself, the sad music, the warning that comes too late. And the gruesome death of you and Ghost. You got your revenge on Shepard, but this betrayal would still be burned into the back of the minds of everyone who played the game. Now it's that time of year again, another Call of Duty, another campaign to play once you're bored of the multiplayer. This year was Modern Warfare 2. Just like 2019, it's a reboot of a beloved classic, and just like everything these days, it ain't like it used to be. The Modern Warfare 2 campaign fumbles the ball so bad. Now, I could go on about every detail, but it's pretty obvious that defending Washington DC against a Russian invasion, only 2/3 of the way through the game mind you, is more interesting than storming some random office building to stop a missile, not a nuke, just a regular missile, heading for DC as the game's finale. No, I want to look at it mainly relating to how they handled Shepard and Shadow Company.
Now let me preface this by saying I actually like Modern Warfare 2019's campaign and the game as a whole. It takes elements from the old games, but changes it up enough to feel new. The second one, I won't be covering the multiplayer, but they make you agree to not harass anyone when you start up the game, so I think it's obvious where that's going. Anyway, the campaign for MW 2022, the gameplay is certainly fun, unless you play it on Veteran. Do not play it on Veteran. The story is pretty decent, right up until you get betrayed by Shepard and Shadow Company. I mean, really, Shepard and Shadow Company shouldn't even be in the game. Modern Warfare 2019 managed to shine pretty much all on its own. Basically, none of the original story is there. Some of it still happened, like Price mentioning the events of All Gillied Up from the original Modern Warfare, but as a whole, everything has been redone. The characters are all slightly different, like Gaz and Hadir, who seemingly becomes Al-Assad, and some of them aren't even there, like Zakhaev, the main villain of the first game. The entire plot of 2019 is completely different to the original. The same is almost present in MW 2022. It for some reason feels the need to shove in the main villain of the second game and his posse. Granted, Shepard is much more well known than Zakhaev, but if the aim was to make it more like the old game, why not include Makarov? Why include this new main villain when he just gets completely overshadowed by an old one? I mean, you probably don't even remember this guy's name. I sure don't. The original Modern Warfare 2 made it out as though Makarov was the main villain, and he kind of was. He caused basically all of the events of the game. He was the more ruthless, dangerous protege of Zakhaev. So it was absolutely crazy to then get fucking shot and burned to death by the guy who was leading you against Makarov. He and Shadow Company came out of nowhere and immediately started destroying both you and Makarov. So you had to leave what you originally thought of as the main antagonist and go after this even more dangerous foe that you once thought was your ally. Maybe it sounds simple on paper, but playing it for the first time is mind-blowing. And that's the first part of the problem. Playing it for the first time, because most people have, if not played the 2009 version, know about it. They know all about Shepard and Shadow Company.
I think Price really sums up this new betrayal best.
Shepard betrayed us. Have to trust someone to be betrayed. I never did.
Shepard might as well be wearing a sign that says, "We'll betray you in Act 3. It's so obvious that it's going to happen that the writers get desperate to make it seem like he won't betray you, which might be good to make it more ambiguous to whether it will happen, but the way they go about it just leaves the script looking like it's been through a round with a family of moths. I myself actually started to believe he might not betray you while playing the game, partly because of the writer's trickery, but also partly because I wanted to believe that the game wouldn't make such an obvious and boring move. The betrayal just doesn't even make sense. In the original, the reasons for Shepard betraying you can be interpreted a few different ways. The two main reasons I think are that first off, he ordered Private Allen on the undercover mission in No Russian. Since Makarov knew that Allen was a double agent, it was on the DMS that you recover in Loose Ends, aptly named as it's a loose end for Shepard. If it were to get out that he planted an operative with terrorists to not only not prevent them from committing mass murder, but aid them in it, and then the discovery of that operative's body be the cause of World War III, Shepard would be ruined. So he takes the device with the information on it and kills anyone who handled it. Then he takes out the rest of 141 because they are not only associates of the men he just killed, and will be the most likely to uncover what he's done, but they're the best candidates to end the war quickly by exposing Makarov as the villain. Shepard doesn't want this, as is evident by the speech he gives at the end of the game, which is also good because it ties him to an event in the previous game. Shepard wants Makarov dead because he's dangerous, and possibly because he knows Makarov gave the order that killed 30,000 of his men in Modern Warfare 1. But he also wants America to keep fighting and win against Russia, creating a stronger nation and more patriots. Even if you don't agree with it, you can understand it. And Shadow Company, they're really not that significant in the original. They're just a private military company that Shepard hires because he's been given essentially complete freedom to deal with Makarov, as well as unlimited funds to do it. Now contrast this to the new Modern Warfare 2. Of course you know that Shepard's going to betray you. So as I said before, the writers get sneaky to make you think otherwise.
First off, the actor that voices General Shepard is Glenn Morshower. You would have heard his voice in the first two Modern Warfares as Overlord, the commander of all US military forces.
Hassan Zyani, Quds Force Major.
Hunter 2-1, be advised, hostiles on the southwest corner of the 5th floor are hammering the evac site. Over.
Other than that, he's probably best known for his performance as General Morshower in the Transformers movies, which it wouldn't be a stretch to say these two previous roles are the main reason why he got the role of Shepard. But the problem is, General Morshower and Overlord are not villains, and General Morshower is all eye, and I assume many others see when looking at Shepard, and is probably the same case for hearing him as Overlord. Now I'm getting a bit conspiratorial here, but I think this was intentional. All the other returning characters in the rebooted games try to resemble the old characters. Obviously they're played by different actors, so they will look different, but this is remedied by hair and clothing. The same cannot be said for Shepard. First, he's never in the field, so he doesn't wear his beret or combat uniform. Then there's the hair. We don't actually see what hair he has under his beret in the original, but what we do clearly see is his mustache, which isn't present in the reboot. Surely that's the bare minimum for creating a General Shepard, to have the mustache. Because to be honest, Glenn Morshower, especially with these two previous, very similar but slightly different roles, just doesn't fit the role of General Shepard. Now on to Shadow Company.
It's less sneaky with Shadow Company, considering their leader is called Phil Graves, but it's still present. Like the whole "We're brothers now" speech he gives to his troops in reference to Task Force 141 and the Mexican Special Forces. Why does he tell his troops this if he knows that he and them will probably have to take down Task Force 141 and the Mexican Special Forces? Then there's the fact that Shadow Company actually helps you on multiple missions. Graves even helps you disable the missile on the oil rig. And then, right after that mission, is what you've been waiting for. The big betrayal that can rival this iconic scene that has been burned into the back of the minds of a whole generation. If you don't want to waste your time watching this, skip to this time. But if you forgot this superb scene. Here it is again.
What's this?
This is the immediate future. Step away from the gate.
What? You heard Lane Greaves.
Don't do that. Don't do that. No one needs to get hurt here.
Are you threatening us?
Soldier, I don't make threats. I make guarantees. So let's not do this.
I'm calling Shepard.
General Shepard sends his regards. He told me y'all wouldn't take this well.
He knows about this.
He's put me in command of this operation from here on out. So y'all need to stand down. It's time to let the pros finish this. And why the hell are we talking like this is some kind of negotiation? It's not. I've got my orders. And now you have yours.
And who the fuck do you think you are, cabron? My men are inside!
I'm afraid not. Your men have been detained.
Graves, what the fuck? Hands off of me! Go, Johnny! Get out of there! So, go!
What the actual fuck? Like, what? So we went from the guy who was leading us up until this point shooting us in the stomach and burning us alive to a traffic stop gone bad. Having this as a cutscene just ruins it even more. And the original was a cutscene too. There's a clear difference between an in-game cutscene and this goddamn movie cinematic. It just takes you out of the moment and removes the intensity. What also removes the intensity is having no consequences. Why the hell has no one died yet? Actually, not a single hero in the reboots has died yet. Even Alex, who sacrifices himself at the end of the first game, is revealed to be alive in multiplayer. Part of the reason why the original betrayal was so shocking was because two of the main characters were brutally murdered. One of those being the character you were playing, therefore you experienced it firsthand. There's just so many things wrong with this betrayal that it literally does not make logical sense. First of all, just looking at the immediate situation, why the hell does Graves stop them outside the base? If he waited until they were inside the base, he could have had his men completely surround them, and they presumably would need to enter the base anyway to leave via plane. Secondly, why the hell are they even doing this anyway? I know it's explained that Shepard is trying to cover up for his blunder with the missiles, but he's the commander of this mission. He could just order Task Force 141 off the assignment. It's just needless hostility that makes him look more suspicious. And obviously after this, we see Shadow Company murdering people in the streets and holding the Mexican Special Forces in a prison. Which of course, they become incredibly evil just for the sake of it. Because seriously, why are they doing this? It's not only incredibly illegal to the point of being an act of war on Mexico by the US, but it's just unnecessary. Shepard isn't naturally just evil in this reboot. His mistake was born out of good intentions and his motivation is to solve the problem with the missiles. So how does killing people in the streets of Mexico and holding their special forces prisoner help? Alejandro and 141 just ask Valeria where the missile is.
Where's the son?
Where's the other missile?
Chicago.
Which is what the deal Graves made with her involved.
I can tell you where to find the missiles. When you return, I'll tell you where Hassan is.
Deal.
There is literally no reason for Shepard and Shadow Company to be doing this. Then again, there's absolutely unwarranted hostility when Price contacts Shepard. Here's the abridged version. Price is pissed Shepard didn't tell them about the missiles, and Shepard tells them to find the third one. Price tells Shepard to call off Shadow Company. Pretty damn reasonable request, I think. Graves just tried to kill all of them, and he's been wasting time committing mass murder. But Shepard's response to this is,
He's a dog with a bone, and I highly recommend you don't try and take it.
What the hell does that even mean? That he'll be angry if his contract is revoked? Why is it worth picking this fight for either of them? It's a complete waste of time. Especially when the Mexican Special Forces and Task Force 141 assault Shadow Company in the next mission to kill Graves. This is the second last mission, which really sums up where the priorities are here. The main antagonist basically gets pushed to the sidelines to make room for Shadow Company and Shepard, which is similar to what happened in the original, except Makarov was spared for the sequel to give him even more time in the limelight and develop him more. With the new game, the writers want to have their cake and eat it. Immediately after you kill Graves, you go after the Iranian guy. That's the last mission. This game has a decently competent plot 2/3 of the way. Then it just goes completely off track for the next third for no reason. Then finally the writers remember that the original plot exists and finish it off in one mission. This game's story really suffers from the inclusion of Shepard and Shadow Company. You could cut out basically the entire third act, so after you take out the second missile, it just jumps straight to asking Valeria where the third missile is. It would be a lot shorter, but it would make a hell of a lot more sense. Really, the only thing that can redeem this situation is if they actually do something different with Shepard in the next game. Maybe he helps you, or maybe he helps Makarov, which would need some explaining, but as long as it's not the same crap we've already seen 13 years ago, I'll be fine with it. But that's enough of me ranting. I have other projects to avoid finishing. See you later.